said, I like him. Stay on that path, he's gonna become a world champion. And so, it's bittersweet for me because this is one of my kids. You know, we talk, you know, and I love him. But I had to remind myself that this is business. And this is what we do. It's love before with us, it's gonna be love after. If I had my way, Keith Thurman would be sitting there, Danny Garcia would be sitting there, and some of the other big names. But they didn't want EJ, and if you notice, in both interviews, when Lamont talked after the fight, he asked for these guys. When EJ talked after the fight, he asked for these guys. Nobody's picking the phone up. So it all boiled down to these two. So that's what it is. I see the fight playing out the same way they see it playing out. Derek, I watched him come up. You know, I remember times in Mississippi. You remember that grind? Times in Mississippi, and it was the same thing. So I'm looking at these guys. The 20th of January, I think this is going to be one for the books, fan friendly.
Where do you see Errol Spence when you talk about the welterweight division? Where's Errol Spence in your opinion?
He's the man, you know, and you have people or athletes that can fight, and then you have athletes not only can fight, but they are fighters. EJ and Lamont are both. Not only do they possess the skills and the talent to do it, but they can fight, and they will fight. They are fighters. But then you got a lot of people, how can you say that you are the best in the world and you don't fight the best in the world? As I recall, I look back at Marvin Hagler, he never discriminated, he fought everybody. Hearns, everybody, Ray Leonard, everybody. And in order for boxing to get back to those glory days, I think we need to, like Steven said, put the best in against the best. And let's make it happen. I have no problem with Lamont fighting anybody on the planet. I have a lot of confidence in him. And when I see Errol, just like you guys said, I think this is the future of boxing.
Derek, let's talk about this fight. You got two type of fighters, love to fight on the inside. So do you tell your fighter, hey, lure that man in, you're the younger, supposed to be the stronger guy, and let him have it?
No, I really kind of just, we have a little strategy, game plan. I try to perfect everything he's going to do in the ring. For being able to fight on the outside, being able to fight on the inside. The whole deal is to make him a more complete fighter so that the fight you saw in England won't be the same guy again. So, no, I won't tell him. I'll just prepare him to be a better inside fighter, a better fighter on the outside, better fighter on the ropes. And, you know, I always look for the perfect fight. So that's what I'm looking for. And with that being said, it takes a great fighter to being our greatness in another fighter. Right. So you see two guys going at it, and you're going to see an amazing fight just because of the mentality and the caliber of fighters these two guys are. So you'll see a great fight. I mean, I couldn't, if you think about it, this is a better fight. I'm just sitting there thinking about listening to Barry and listening to Lamont. You know, you saw Keith Thurman run around the ring. You know, you saw a rougher fight with Sean Porter, but you don't see two guys here who have that mentality to go get it. And very technical and very skilled and very technically sound fighters. So you look for a great fight like Ray Leonard versus Hearns fight because of the skill and the depth in which these guys have talent. So it's going to be a phenomenal fight.
Absolutely.
Since we're in New York, I think there was a rapper who said if they didn't know me then, they know me now. Yeah, no people certainly know you now.
No doubt.
What's been your secret? I mean, because when you look at what Charlo has done, he has really gone to a different level since he's been with you. And obviously Errol has lived up to all the expectations. A number of people want, what is your secret? What does Derek James do for fighters?
It's not so much about a secret as about me being a former fighter. And it's one thing to do it. It's another thing to teach it. So I had to go in on the inside and kind of really understand it. So stand on the outside of everything. And so I realized that I don't follow any other old critiques about everybody would say about boxing, because boxing evolves, and that's my whole deal, is to evolve with the sport. And so that's how I look at it, is that I don't follow anything. I hear people say that fighters are born punchers are born not developed, and that's not true. Because we see it in Jamel Charlo. So it's all about being more technical and more fundamentally sound. That's the key to it all. If you see more fundamentals in boxing, the talent level and skill set also grow with it. So that's what I focus on.
Lamont, you know, when people talk about the welterweight division, they mention Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, names we've heard here today, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. They've even said Terrence Crawford. He hadn't fought yet in the welterweight division. But it's always seems like your name is last. Do you feel as if you're like the forgotten guy in this welterweight division? And if so, what are you out to prove January 20th?
I don't pay any attention to it. I respect anyone's opinion. You have to. It's their opinion. They have a right to have an opinion. So I can't feel some type of way because someone have an opinion. I just go out, train, and do what I love to do. I get in the ring because I love to box, not trying to impress anyone or be on someone's list. I love to compete. I love to box. It's that simple to me.
Errol, 2017 will probably go down as one of the best years for boxing. We saw some great matchups. We saw you in high-priced fights. 2018 is kicking off with a great fight between you two. What do you see for the welterweight division in 2018 and for Errol Spence in 2018?
I mean, I see for the welterweight division the best fighting the best. I mean, I know I'm willing to fight the best. I know Lamont willing to fight the best. It's for the other guys to step up and you know, make that choice. Do they want to be great or they just want to get by? I mean, that's the only way that, you know, the welterweight division can get to the peak. If we fight, the best fighters fight each other and they fight them in their prime. Everybody's in their prime right now. I don't feel like waiting until I'm 30-something to, you know, want to fight the best guy out there. I want to fight the best right now. So I feel like 2018, you know, hopefully I get 3 fights in and it's with 3 top 5 fighters.
All right, we'll wrap it up with this. Lamont, what should we expect January 20th?
I think we pretty much know what to expect. It's going to be a fight, highly competitive, highly skilled, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a dogfight.
Errol?
I mean, you know how me and Lamont, if you seen Lamont fight, you know how Lamont fight, you see me fight, you know how I fight. We never been in boring fights. I mean, always in fan-friendly fights. We have a lot of dog in us, and that's what you're gonna get. I mean, we're not gonna shy away from it. And like I said, it's probably gonna start out a boxing match, but at the end, it's gonna be a fight. That's both our mentalities, and that's our coach's mentality too. So, I mean, we got the mentality to go and get it. I mean, we're friends, but I mean, we can talk in the locker room, and right before the fight, we talk in the locker room. Then we get out there, we're trying to kill each other. I mean, that's our mentality.
Take a few questions from members of the press. That gentleman right there. Just tell us your name, who you're with, and direct your question.
Oh, hi. John Cudney, Reddit Boxing. So this is a question for Errol. So Lamont was already pretty established pro, I think, when you started fighting, because you started out pretty late. Just wondering when you first became aware of him, if he was someone you followed on TV before you eventually sparred each other.
Yeah, he was somebody I followed on TV before I sparred him. You know, I used to watch him and Anthony Peterson watch their fights. I just like their style. You know, I like their defense. I liked how they throw body punches. I like the fundamentals. So yeah, I did, you know, grow up watching him in the amateurs before I met him.
Okay, so just a follow-up question. I was able to talk to Lamont and Barry beforehand, and they mentioned, you know, training a bit as amateurs and almost described it as a mentor-type relationship, that, you know, they had a lot of respect for you, advised you. Just wondering what it means now to have risen to this level and fight someone who you had seen before and was to some extent, you know, advised you early on.
I mean, I don't really put too much thought in it. I mean, it just, you know, that's the business of the sport. I mean, just like with any other fighter. I mean, you know, I was a younger guy, you know, he was giving me advice and, you know, telling me certain things I need to work on. And, you know, now we're here to this point. I mean, it basically shows, you know, his longevity in the sport. He's, you know, still around 13 years in the game. And it shows him, you know, my come up from an amateur to now to a, you know, top level professional fighter.
So one last question here. So just wondering, Derek James, so during the Kell Brook promotion, you and Dominic Ingle got into it a little bit. Here we saw before this started, you and Barry embraced each other, you know, seems to be clear respect for I'm just wondering, to hear you first and then Barry after to talk about the relationship between you two and between the two camps.
Well, you know, they've known each other. Well, I initially met him like in 2007 when in the U.S. Championships, when I was in the U.S. Championships with a friend, Charles Hadley, watching him fight. So I've known him, and I got to know him a little bit more better, and he spent a lot of time with Errol. So, you know, if you got a guy who's spending time with your guy, you got to get to know those guys, you know, and you go to develop a friendship and respect for the guys. So, you know, I like him. You know, I like what he's done. You know, he has a gym of fighters, man. He creates these young, tough guys. I mean, he's right in the heart of it and the grind of it, which everybody can't do that, to be in the inner city like that and develop fighters like that. So, you know, I respect him, and I love what he does, you know, and I'm going to keep doing that. Regardless of this fight, if you think about this, this is the maturation of a fighter. Like this fighter, they saw him when he was an amateur, they worked with him when he was an amateur.
Heidegg from BoxingScene.com, how you doing? What do you remember from your sparring session with Lamont back in 2011, I think it was? What did you get from that, and how do you remember it going?
It was just great work, man. It was a learning experience. I mean, you know, just because I was an amateur, you know, it's the amateur level. You know, I'm going at a fast pace, you know, just flaring punches off, kind of fighting like Amir Khan. And you know, Lamont, you know, he just being patient, you know, blocking, you know, trying to counter, and you know, picking shots off, basically fighting at a, you know, at a pro level, pro pace. And I didn't really understand it until you know, I turned pro and started going 10, 12 rounds. And now, you know, I understand, you know, what he was doing and things like that.
You guys never sparred together after that, though?
No.
Next question.
Lamont Peterson, this is the Studio Lawyers, Black Star News. Errol Spence is one of the most prolific southpaws in the business today, unlike Bud Crawford, who's a switch hitter. How do you plan to offset his left-hand stance, even though you were somewhat of a mentor towards him, and you may feel mentally that you have an advantage over him?
I'm not really too much worried about southpaw stance. Been fighting for 23 years now. Then, you know, encountered a few southpaws, especially in an international level when you're fighting for the U.S. team. 50% of those guys are southpaws, right. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to handle the stance.
My name is Cheyenne with Blue Blood Sports TV. So you haven't had too many fights at the welterweight division. Mm-hmm. Do you think the size is going to play a big part in this fight?
Of course, with anything, it can, but it's up to me and it's up to my team to make sure that don't happen. You know, it's still, just because one thing may seem like an advantage for one person, it's up to the other side to make sure that that advantage is not an advantage. So if it is a size advantage, then it's up to us to negate it.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to face off our fighters. Fighters, if we could, stand over here to your left, my far right here, and get ready to face off.
I'm going to rely on y'all to tell me how far back we can go to get that in the background. Is this too close? If y'all can face off first, please.
Andrew, we're going to get the belt.
Where is it? Yeah.
Coming up.
My fault. Your shoes about
mentor, baby.
that print.
We'll snag each other. If you could hold that one, please. Logo up. That, please.
Tag right here, please. Thank you.
Everyone got this one? All right. Take these and then just put that over your shoulder.
Man, that's what I'm saying.
Chris. Yeah. Want to go with the trainers?
Yeah.
Barry. Derek.
And Derek, can we just do a quick shot? Sorry.
Go ahead. We'll try and click over the new, baby.
All black. All right. You want me to hold the bag?
What up, Steven?
What up, man?
Left a little bit.
Have you guys over here?
You guys take 3 steps to your left so we get the sign behind you.
Everyone this way a little bit.
There you go.
Kid must have been a box because I'm in land.
We get you guys here again?
You guys right here for a minute. Make it real quick. Lower your.
You know what? Right here for one. Come here.
Thanks.
I'm just playing.
Ooh, you want to get in the middle?
Yeah, and Steve.
Steven, yep. It's nice and tight, guys.
All right, over here for one.
Good.
Everyone got the shot?
Forget January 20th on Showtime Championship Boxing.
And I'm out 8 in the mall, dog. Clock 2 around here. What you do around here? And you know I keep my tool around here. My act a fool around.